Bob, have fun.
Well, thanks. Thanks, Dennis. Well, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. I'm just going to make a couple of random comments about the car and maybe just a few words on where General Motors is headed, where we see the future, and then we'll open it up for Q&A. First of all, on the Solstice, and then later the Sky, but I'll concentrate on the Solstice. The Solstice is I would say, a career-long dream of mine. Since I've always dreamed of doing the affordable two-passenger sports car, because there's a lot of sports cars out there that the Germans do and the Japanese do, like the Honda S2000 or the BMW Z4, and they all cost $35,000 or $40,000. And at $35,000 or $40,000 or $45,000 or $50,000, you know, the air gets pretty thin. There aren't a whole lot of customers. And the car, those cars are all pretty perfect to drive, but they're at a price point where they become commercially irrelevant. But I always told myself, if you could get a car low-priced enough to where it had the appeal to young people of all ages and truly became the replacement of the little British sports cars in the immediate post-war era, like the Austin Healey Sprite and the MG Midget, which at the time in the 50s cost about $1,250. That's a little hard to imagine, but that'll get you a couple of tanks of gas now. So at Opel, the first time around, I sort of halfway realized my dream with the Opel GT, but it turned out to be a great car. Looked like a tiny little Corvette, sold quite well, but we had it done by an outside bodybuilder, so it turned out to be a little bit too expensive. I'm happy to say that upon my return to General Motors in '01, Wayne Cherry asked me if there was anything I would like to see as a concept car, and I said, yeah, I'd like to see a small two-seat Pontiac Roadster that we could do for under $20,000. And he turned to. They had a design competition. We selected the winning design. I must say Wayne Cherry worked on the clay model a lot personally and came up with, I think, one of the best, if maybe the best sports car design in the last 20 or 30 years, and the public seems to be agreeing with us. Why do I think this car is great? Well, first of all, we know it's great because it's a great design. It has, it's very well, basically very well engineered from a standpoint of ride handling, road holding, braking, vehicle dynamics. And that's not just us saying it, that's the automotive press saying it. So in terms of the way the car behaves, it equals the best out of Europe and is certainly better than most of the cars of this type from Japan. My purpose with cars like this, you say to yourself, well, we're not going to save General Motors by doing, cars that do 20,000 here and 20,000 there. No, they in and of themselves do not carry the volume and the profitability to turn this great company around. But what they do is they demonstrate to the American public that creativity and imagination at General Motors is alive and well. And I hate to say it, but a lot of the media, television, and the newspapers hate us. And they like to point to us and say we do lackluster and boring cars and we can't do anything exciting and we don't do great designs. Well, this makes liars. Cars like this make liars out of those people. But I would personally like to see more variants off of this architecture to where we could produce more vehicles in this plant and exploit this great rear-wheel drive architecture that we've got here for some other vehicles that could help both our market share and our reputation. And with that, I'm going to stop the informal remarks. I'm going to stop the informal remarks and take a few questions.
My question is in two parts. Are there any other Kappa platform vehicles on the horizon that maybe we could put together for the corporation? And secondly, since we only use a small portion of this fine facility, are there any other architectures out there that would fit well with us?
Well, first of all, to the structure of your question, I believe it's correct to say that the Solstice is the hottest. I don't know about the rest of the world, but I will say it's the hottest vehicle in America right now, with the longest waiting times and the fastest turn rates at dealerships. And it will help revitalize the Pontiac brand. Pontiac needed a symbol like this to just get attention to the brand again. The same thing for Saturn. Saturn, we have a wonderful brand. Everybody likes to buy cars from Saturn because they get well taken care of by the dealer and the salesman won't try to screw them and so forth. But in truth, the cars have been a little bit boring. So, why not give these great dealers with this great reputation, give them some exciting cars? So the Sky is going to be the new flagship of Saturn. So I think Saturn is going to be on its way, but the Sky is going to be super hot. Now, additional architectures. Well, I touched on it. My personal preference would be to be able to exploit this architecture with additional variants. One of the ones we're looking at is doing a fastback coupe off the car, which would take some cost out, be easier to build. I dare say we wouldn't have 1/10 the water leak problems. We'd probably also get rid of wind noise. We could probably sell that one, current economics, but we could probably sell that one at $18,900. Now imagine a really beautiful, slick, almost Corvette-looking coupe off of this car for $18,900, and I think we couldn't build enough of. There is no shortage of creative people looking at new ways to create more Kappa architecture cars. I can guarantee that. So listen, I guess that's it for my contribution today, but I'd just like to say to all of you, thank you very much for your hospitality.